Welcome to the podcast that focuses on simplifying your TIAA accounts. Your host, Greg Shepard, is an independent fee-only financial advisor that specializes in helping folks in higher ed get the most out of their TIAA accounts.
Hey there, folks. Greg Shepard here. As always, I am your humble host. Thanks for listening to this silly little podcast I got going on for quite some time now. The goal of this podcast is always to simplify those complex issues related to TIAA. So I've been doing this for a long time. I do have a fee-only investment advisory firm here in the Kansas City area. Folks, if you get confused in the weeds on your TIAA situation, by all means, contact me. A lot of you folks out there are contacting me, asking me all kinds of great questions. So I want you to be a part of that, right? Get your questions answered and we'll get you squared away. Again, name is Greg Shepard. Email is the best way to get a hold of me, and that is greg@shepardfinancial.com. That is greg@shepard financial.com. Phone number, yes, folks still do use the phone. I'm in the Kansas City area, so with the area code 913-521-2381. Got a good topic for you here today. So let me expand it a little bit before I get going on the meat and potatoes here. I was sitting on this story for a little bit the last couple days. A lot of you folks out there know my role in dealing with TIAA. I don't work for TIAA. I am a part of their advisor network. I have been so for a long time. I have the ability to work with TIAA on behalf of your accounts out there, right? That's why people onboard with my firm, because I do provide that unbiased, independent advice, okay? And that's not a sales pitch by any means, but that goes a long ways into detailing the story I'm about to tell you. So recently, NBC News came out with an article, okay? A lot of you have pointed this out to me. You forwarded me the article. I knew it existed. I've read it a couple, 3, 4 times, and Again, I'm going to preface. I've worked with TIA for a long time. Worked with them, not for them. I never will work for them, nor have I ever worked for them. I work with them in a very symbiotic manner. I think they're a great outfit. I think they do a lot of great things for a lot of great folks out there, okay? As with any huge company, as TIAA is, you're going to run into some bumps along the road, right? So I don't necessarily agree with the story I'm about to tell you. I don't think they did things appropriately. Okay, I'm trying to be as PC as I can here. I think they could have done things better, right? So with that being said, let's just do this. I'm going to jump into this. I'm actually going to read this story. I'm going to recite this story. This will be tedious. You're going to get a wind of my reading capabilities. So I'm going to try to read quickly. I'm going to jump over a few of the paragraphs, so bear with me as some of this may not be fluid, okay? And I'll try to point that out. But I want to hit this home to you all. Now, this goes back to some episodes I've done in the past on the podcast and the YouTube channel alike, whereas I think you folks out there have to do your due diligence. Now, what do I mean by that is that when you're using a financial advisor, whether that be me, Jane Doe, John Smith down the road, or TIA, or Fidelity, or Vanguard, you have to be cognizant. You have to educate yourself as to why folks are advising you on certain products being mutual funds, ETFs, okay? I've said time and time again, there's a lot of good folks, some bad apples out there, of course. There's a lot of good folks that comprise this industry that I find myself in, the financial advisory / investment management industry out there, right? You need to look at, in my opinion, peel back the onion, the layers, and who do they work for? What company do they work for, okay? And then you kind of start placing 2 and 2 together as to why some of these people are advising you on certain products, okay? With that being said, I'm just going to get into this, right? So let me give you the headline of this article, and then, folks, I'm just going to read this. I'm going to recite this. I'll trip over my words constantly, and we'll just shoot from the hip and see how this goes. So real quick, I'm going to give credit to the person that actually there she is, Gretchen Morganson. So she's from, NBC News. She wrote this August 2nd, folks, okay? Here we are, August 5th. So this wasn't that long ago, and like I mentioned, a number of you folks out there have sent this my way. So I'm not the only one to have seen this. So the headline of said article is, "To cover losses elsewhere, TIAA pushes costly in-house products on retirement savers," whistleblower says. The subheadline here reads, "TIA faces losses on a core business. which is record keeping for retirement plans at colleges and other nonprofits. Quote, where we make up for that is on the product side, end quote, an exec told sales staff. So now we're going to move on to the actual article itself. Again, I've highlighted a few paragraphs, so folks, bear with me. I'm going to read this. I know it's going to be mundane, tedious. Let's just see how it goes. I'm going to put the link to the article below. I implore you, I encourage you, read this for yourself. I'll opine a little bit at the end of this, time permitting, but let's just get into it. Okay, here we go with the article. In January 2023, some 250 financial consultants working for TIAA, a giant investment advisory firm, were summoned to Texas for a 4-day meeting. The event was called A New Day for Financial Consultants, referring to TIAA reps who handle retirement plans for thousands of nonprofit institutions like Boston College and Tuskegee University. During 30 hours of sessions, TIA reps were trained on how to get clients to, in quotes here, take action in their accounts and change their investments using an in-house advice tool. Only later did the firm's financial consultants learn what was behind the training push. A drive by TIA to offset troubling losses in its core business of handling institutional retirement accounts. Getting thousands of TIA clients to implement the in-house advice tool would do the trick. TIA says its tool provides clients with, in quotes here, objective recommendations that are suited for your investment needs, end quote. But a whistleblower complaint filed with the SEC in June and shared with NBC News says TIA stands up, scratch that, TIA stands to reap billions in new revenues when clients use the tool because it quietly steers them into 2 in-house TIAA investment products that yield the firm significant profits. Sidebar here, folks. Yes, I said billions in new revenues. End sidebar. Back to the article. TIA consultants recommending the tool benefit receiving bonuses if they persuade at least 170 customers to follow its advice. The complaint and internal records show this. TIA's CEO and other top execs also stand to gain because historically the firm's executive compensation has risen when more investment money, scratch that, more investor money flows into one of the products the tool steers clients to. But TIA has faced daunting financial challenges in recent years as teachers and others saving for retirement have increasingly opted for lower cost investments than what TIAA offers. Its own executives has said this. TIA now competes with heavyweights like Fidelity and Vanguard. Younger customers, they do prefer investment products with lower fees, like Vanguard index funds, to vehicles like TIA's more costly annuities. Meanwhile, TIAA is generating losses on one of its core legacy businesses, record keeping for the retirement plans at the colleges and other nonprofits it serves. TIAA has responded to the pressure with a sales push, according to the whistleblower's complaint. At a sales meeting last fall, Thomas Rajote, TIA's director of finance, told employees in a recorded presentation that the company could secure its future and offset its losses by selling in-house products to clients. Quotes here, if they, clients, have Vanguard, we're not earning any money on the product and we're losing money on the record keeping, end quote, he told the attendees. Quote here, again, where we make that up is on the product side, end quote, Rajote said, with TIAA proprietary products. The former financial consultant who filed the whistleblower complaint spoke extensively with NBC News and provided internal emails and recorded presentations by TIA executives also filed with the SEC. The whistleblower contends that TIA misled clients regarding the investment tool by saying it provided independent advice tailored to each participant and failed to disclose the firm's financial consultants benefited. Did I read that correctly? Let me do that again. TIAA misled clients regarding the investment tool by saying it provided independent advice tailored to each participant and failed to disclose that the firm's financial consultants benefited when enough clients agreed to change their portfolios using its recommendations. NBC News granted an anonymity to the whistleblower to discuss the matter. TIAA has not seen the whistleblower complaint, which is confidential. NBC News described its allegations to the firm. In quotes here, TIAA works very hard to earn and keep our clients' trust, end quote, a spokesperson said in a statement. Quotes here, TIAA believes in the importance of advice in achieving better outcomes in retirement, and we take great care to deliver advice that is in their best interest. TIAA does not put its own interests ahead of our clients. Any claims to the contrary are false, end quote. Still, 3 times during the past 5 years, regulators have accused TIAA of placing its interests ahead of its customers or failing to disclose conflicts of interest in its practices. To settle those cases, one as recent as February, TIAA neither admitted nor denied the allegations and paid more than $100 million in penalties and disgorgement. TIAA's business has 2 main parts. First, it acts as record keeper for the retirement plans of institutions like Cornell University, University of North Carolina System, and most of the nation's 107 historically black colleges and universities. Second, TIAA earns money as an asset manager on in-house mutual funds and insurance products sold to investors both inside and outside those plans. Annuities are contracts that promise to provide income for holders during their lives. Most of the institutional accounts handled by TIAA allow participants to invest both in its own products and also in funds from outside firms like Vanguard or Fidelity. As is typical across Wall Street, selling in-house products generates significantly greater profits to TIAA than sales of external offerings. If a financial firm advises customers to buy in-house investments that make it more money than other vehicles, it must disclose that fact. Ditto if a firm rewards sales reps with a higher compensation for directing clients into certain investments. TIAA hasn't always done this. In the 2021 SEC case, some TIAA training materials encourage the firm's wealth management advisors to avoid discussing with clients the fees and expenses associated with shifting their lower-cost employer retirement accounts into higher-cost managed accounts. TIAA misled clients by characterizing the recommendations to move into managed accounts as objective advice, according to the SEC. The activities occurred from January 2013 through March 2018. In accepting the settlement from TIAA, the SEC said it considered remedial actions the company took before and after the investigation, including changes to its disclosures, training policies, and compensation structure. At a meeting last fall, TIAA's Parkin is his name, told financial consultants that 655,000 of the firm's clients were quote-unquote off track for retirement. Why the dire situation for so many TIAA clients? They didn't own enough in-house TIAA products, according to the complaint, and a recording of Parkin's presentation. Propelling these folks into TI Traditional, the annuity, would get them on track, he said. Even better, it would generate $10 billion, with a B, billion dollars for the firm, Parkin said. Like many online advice mechanisms, TIAA's Retirement Advisor Field View tool recommends clients balance their portfolio among various asset classes, stocks, bonds, money markets, and the like, based on risk tolerance, age, income, and other inputs. The tool divides investors into 7 types, very conservative to very aggressive, then steers them to investment options in each asset class. Internal documents show this. Clients using the tool to change their portfolio must accept all its suggestions. A participant cannot accept one recommendation on stocks and reject another on real estate, for example. But in 2 asset classes, the tool's recommendations are limited to TIAA products, according to the complaint and internal documents. One is the annuity that Parkin said generates significant profits to the firm. The other is a lackluster TIAA real estate product. Asked about its disclosures related to the tool, TIAA said in a statement, in quotes here, "We disclose conflicts of interest where they exist in connection with the sale of proprietary products and compensation," end quote. TIAA declined to say when its disclosures are provided to clients, such as if they are provided at the time the client uses the tool to change their investments. Among the firm's broad disclosures on its website are those saying TIAA has a financial interest in recommending clients purchase its annuities, and financial consultants' bonuses create a conflict of interest when those consultants recommend TIAA products. All 7 investor types using the tool, aggressive or conservative, are steered to put 8 or 9% of their portfolio into the TIAA real estate vehicle. Internal documents from late 2023 show. All but one of the 7 investor categories are funneled to the TIAA annuity. Depending upon risk category, clients are advised to put between 7 and 40% of their portfolios in the annuity. In an effort to ensure its clients make changes, the tool recommends, last year TIAA began a new incentive setup, the complaint contends. While previously consultants had been encouraged to discuss the tool's recommendations with clients, now the employees are tasked with getting a certain number of clients to implement the tool's advice. If a consultant persuades at least 170 customers to make changes using the tool, he or she earns credits toward bonuses accounting for 1/4 of their compensation. Make sure you all heard that, okay? Little sidebar there. Top TIAA executives also reap rewards when more money flows into its annuity. The company's compensation report shows this, okay? Almost half of the pay granted to TIAA's top executives last year, 45%, was based on the firm's financial performance. Growth in inflows to TIAA Traditional is one of the 5 measures the firm's Human Resources Committee uses to determine that. The recent push to increase client usage of TIAA's advice tool, it appears to be succeeding. Last fall, TIAA executives sent a congratulatory email to financial consultants noting that, in quotes here, advice implementations using the tool were up 34% year over year, a copy shows. More than $400 million in new money flowed to TIAA Traditional as a result, the email said. Okay, folks, end story. Now, the story doesn't necessarily end there. I skipped over a few paragraphs and I truncated it a little bit. Again, I'm putting the link down below. I know I read through that, so a lot of it was kind of convoluted. I tried to speed it up a little bit. But you get the gist here, folks. When you're dealing with not just TIAA reps, folks, reps where they have Big Brother, okay? You've got to be careful. You have to do your due diligence as to why they're advising you on certain things. Now, folks in my space, specifically RIAs, independent fee-only RIAs. It's my opinion you get more of a fiduciary, certainly less biased point of view when utilizing folks like myself in my, we'll call it subsect of the industry, the fee-only independent advisor, okay? We don't have a dog in a fight. I don't work for TIAA. I don't work for anybody. I custody my assets over at Charles Schwab. I don't work for Charles Schwab. You could custody your assets at TIAA, Schwab. I can get paid the same regardless, all right, folks? So I don't really necessarily have a dog in the fight, but myself and others like me, we're going to do what's in the best interest of you, the client, okay? So ask yourself, when you're dealing with TIAA reps, Fidelity reps, Schwab reps, do they truly have your best interest at heart, or are they telling you things told to them by Big Brother to further the margins for said Big Brother, okay? So this is just one example, folks. This kind of stuff happens often, okay? I can recite 3 right now, of which I will not do, okay? But again, I felt like this is important information for you folks out there to know. I can tell you that I might be getting a phone call or email from the company referenced in this episode, but this is all public information, folks. I'm not sharing with you anything that should be hidden, all right? Again, I want you to do your due diligence. Folks, if you find yourself a little turned around in your situation with TIAA, by all means, folks, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do to get you squared away. Again, email is greg@shepardfinancial.com. Greg, G-R-E-G, @SHEPARD financial.com. I know this isn't going to resonate with a lot of you out there, but if it just helps 1, 2, 3, 4 of you out there, hey, I feel like I've done the world a good service, right? And also, I want to close by saying this tool can be advantageous for a lot of folks out there, okay? So I don't want this to come across that I'm anti this advisory tool, all right? I think it can be presented better, disclosed better, okay? But there's a lot of folks out there that just leave their money in cash or have it invested way too aggressively or way too conservatively, where this tool can certainly serve a place for those folks as long as you understand what you're getting into. the costs associated with it, the incentives associated with it, okay? So if you have questions over this podcast episode or any other episodes, by all means, get in touch with me, and we'll get you squared away. Enough for today, folks. Okay, Greg Shepard here signing off. TS Simplified podcast, telling you good folks out there to, hey, take control of your retirement today. Take care, folks.
Thanks for listening to the TIAA Simplified podcast. Just because this episode is over doesn't mean you can't continue your TIAA journey. Please visit www.safinancialservices.com to see how you can work with Greg.
S&A Financial Services is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.